Well, this is Flaminpit Part 2. I know y'all thought I was gone for the day, but I'm back. Still doing good back there, John?
Oh, yeah. Doing real well.
After talking about all that sleep, I think I need a nap.
And you don't drink coffee, so.
I don't drink coffee. I'm amped up enough. Don't give me coffee. Whew. But anyway, Flaminpit Part 2, my guest is Miss Teresa Springer. And she is here. She's going to tell us about the big event that they're doing on June 29th. So welcome to the Flaminpit Show.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me what's going on with the event and tell me the name of it.
All right. So we're hosting a Flintgate Pride in the Park event. Okay. There's a lot of events that go on around Michigan, Pride events, Kalamazoo, Detroit, Ferndale, all of them host Pride events. And so Flint wanted to have one of our own.
Right.
So about 2 years ago, we started hosting the Pride events, and this is our third year. It's June 29th from 11 to 7 p.m. It's located in downtown Flint at the Pavilion Rink. We recently got the pavilion open too, so that is big.
Yeah.
And then we have the Riverfront Park. So the park that's on the same side as the rink and the other side of the park that has like the amphitheater and everything. So yeah, we said that, the LGBT community, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, is just not highlighted in Flint, and we wanted to make sure that they have a voice.
Right.
And Pride events are a very good way of making sure that voice happens.
Now, are you going to have a parade and stuff like that?
We will not have a parade. We're not that big yet.
Be on the floor. Flint Talk Radio.
Yeah. We talked about it this year. When we talked about it, the question was posed to the group, well, does anybody here have a experience planning a parade?
I know, it's a big thing.
Yeah, and they were like, no. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to have to table that.
Yeah. Maybe next year.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. Like maybe next year, as it grows, it'll grow.
Talk to the people that runs the Juneteenth one.
Oh, yeah.
And they might be able to help you put it together, because I don't know how to put it together, but I think it would be fun to sit up there with us, a Flint Talk Radio banner, don't you think, John?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
And throw some beads like Mardi Gras.
Yeah. on what is it, Memorial Day?
Yeah.
My bonus daughter, she was like, "Can we go to the parade to get some candy?" And I'm like, "Candy?" She like, "They throw candy."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Shut up!" So we went to the parade and we got candy.
See, you never know what you gonna get at a parade. Now, you said this is the third year, and I had never heard of the event before, and Joe Bird, the wrestler, had asked me to talk to you about it, because he was like, well, they have it every year, blah, blah, and I was like, when? I've never seen it posted or anything, and I know the university has a whole department that's designated to the LBGT. I want to get all the letters right.
Yeah.
But why doesn't people hear about it? Because I didn't hear about it.
I don't know why people aren't hearing about it. Maybe because we're very nonprofit and we don't have the means or the sponsorship to market it the way that it deserves to be marketed.
Right.
So right now we're doing like print, so posters and flyers, little handbills.
Right.
We're working on kind of like a social media. So like I'll share it on our Flint Gay Pride Society Facebook page, and then it's shared from then.
Right,
so know it's a lot of social media marketing, but not a lot of like television, newspaper, magazines, and things like this. This is actually our first radio show. So thank you so much.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're expanding. This being our third year. I think every year we get bigger.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think that it's getting so big this year that we were going to concentrate it in the pavilion rink, but I think it's spilled over.
Well, that's a
And
good
so,
thing.
yeah, definitely.
And you might, if you get like Channel 12 and people like that to come down, in fact, like go on there to announce that this is going to happen, and then see if they can send some people, because you probably want to hit all the three, the 66 to 5 and all them. If they can come around for the hurricanes, they can come around for other
come
stuff.
around for this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to try to get it out there one way or the other. But I just wondered if, people, like you say, you don't have sponsors and anything. You think it's because of people like nervous about it, or they don't know.
Well, the LGBT community just in general is a stigmatized community.
Right.
So there's a lot of secrecy and shame that's wrapped around it. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are hesitant to come out as allies.
Right.
And so, but we did get some sponsorships this year. The University of Michigan sponsored the pavilion rink.
Right.
Their diversity council sponsored the actual opening of the pavilion. Mm-hmm. The Healthy Sexuality Coalition is a sponsor. The Machine Shop.
Oh yeah.
Can you believe it?
Yes, I can believe it, because they do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they do, and they sponsored us. Mm-hmm. So we have the Pure Pro Wrestlers.
Yeah.
What is it? Who else are sponsors?
Well, I know. Well, you should try people like Bubba O'Malley's, because they sponsor a lot of people. They do a lot of nonprofit events. Mm-hmm. They're well known. They do like, every time you look up, it's somebody's doing something out there.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of things, and they were at a board. They had a board member event. It was an event at Diplomat hosted by the Best Project that was trying to recruit board members for nonprofits, and they catered that event. Yeah, and it was really nice. I've noticed that they've done a lot in the community, and
also Hoffman's Deli. Sometimes they do stuff like that,
and they're extremely LGBT friendly.
Yeah,
I will have to contact them. I know the Crepe Company wants to get involved
because they have the table and tap. That's theirs too.
Yeah,
so you can just go down Saginaw Street. Blackstones, 501, a lot of those do fundraisers for different groups, and since you're nonprofit,
yeah, we're very nonprofit.
That's what I mean. You got that status, you get more people to help, and they don't mind doing it, especially when you start having big events, bringing people to the community, bringing people downtown. Yeah, because I don't go downtown because I can't find where to park.
Parking in downtown is challenging.
Yes.
I think parking in Flint downtown is less challenging than other bigger cities. Yeah. But I gotta go to Detroit, and I don't know where to park, and why does everybody want $10?
Exactly. You can park in my driveway for $10.
Right, and I'm like, I don't want to. I want to park for free.
Right. So now, how long have you been involved with the Pride events or anything of that sort?
But I've been involved since the beginning. Wellness Aid Services is a HIV, it's a sexual health organization. Right. And we saw the disparity in Flint that around safe spaces for LGBT individuals. And we saw that they just weren't being empowered. There's no events that's focused on them or anything like that. So we really wanted to step up and help them have that voice that we were talking about earlier. Right. And so in 2011, we hosted our first Pride event. It was in September at Kearsley Park, and we had like 150 people show up. So last year was our second one, hosted in the same place it was this year, the Pavilion Rink, and we had over 500 people. Oh, nice. We gave out the armbands, so that's how we kept count. Yeah. And we ran out at 500, and it was still like an hour or two left in the event. So that's why I say over 500. Right. So this year we're expecting like over 1,000 people. Oh, because we made sure that we didn't conflict with any other Pride events and things like that. It's a lot of cross promotion that goes on with Pride events. So, we definitely highlight the other Pride events that are going on in Michigan, and they highlight us, and we appreciate that. Oh, okay.
So it's not any other ones going on close by that you would conflict with.
Right. Okay. Last year, I think it was either Tri-City or Traverse City Pride. That was a conflict. And so this year we made sure that didn't happen. Yeah. And it's getting big. We had a lot of, our Facebook page has went up in likes. Right. A lot of people are contacting. My voicemail is always full now. And I'm just like, oh, okay.
and that's what you want.
Yeah, definitely.
You may have to break out a second phone.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. This is a good thing.
Right.
Yeah. So it's being embraced way more than I thought it would be. And so I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Now, how did you fit in the wellness part of it? Because I've talked to several people that have to do with, I guess, the wellness program, the HIV and all that. Now, how do those tie in together?
So we kind of do events within events, right? So Pride is happening,
right?
But it's a lot of things that'll be going on at Pride. So how we incorporated not only wellness, but the Healthy Sexuality Coalition, because they have the STI Express, and it's a STI test center. So they will be there offering gonorrhea and chlamydia screenings, and we will be there offering HIV screenings. And so we're going to have an area set up, of course, a private area, to have that available at Pride. So it's a part of National Testing Day. So that's how we're incorporating wellness in there.
Right.
And then the Healthy Sexuality Coalition as well. And so, yeah, that's how we do it.
So I just recently I had Daniel Ward on my show, and I saw STI. That was the first time I had heard of it, because, you know, I'm so used to STD. And I was like, well, what is STI? And then she was like, oh, infection. And I thought, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it could be from head to toe, and people don't know it, and, you know, start passing it around and stuff.
Exactly. A lot of times STIs have no symptoms.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And we live in a very, like, our county is, I can't even quote the number, but we're one of the high prevalence counties in Michigan. I think there's like 8 or 9 of them, and we rank maybe like 5 or 6. And we always rank 1 through 3 on gonorrhea and chlamydia. So, you know,
those are the ones with no symptoms.
And HIV, I mean, it really doesn't have any symptoms either.
Yeah.
So the only way to kind of know about that is to get tested. And so we're trying to, you know, we're trying to market it as a part of your regular health checkup. So if you're going to get your cholesterol checked and your vitamin D levels checked, and
or just your physical,
right?
Toss that in too.
Yeah, toss that in. You need that needs checked out. If you're a sexual being, then you need that checked.
Right. Now, but does the insurance cover that? Because, you know, they cover a lot of testing and stuff to do. If you just say I want HIV test thrown in with my physical, people that don't have insurance, are people probably more apt to not get it done?
Well, I think as long as you have insurance, it's covered. And don't quote me on that, people, please. But as far as I've seen, it's been covered. And if it's not covered, then wellness, all our services are free. So it's walk-in Monday through Thursday from 10 to 5. You can come in and you can get an HIV test, and you can do a urine drop that'll test for gonorrhea, chlamydia, and trick.
Oh, okay.
And so
there's really no excuse for people not to get it done, because you have the center. Now, is there more than one center? Is this on Hamilton, the Hamilton centers?
Nope. Hamilton is a federally qualified health center. So if you don't have insurance, it's a good thing to go there because they have to serve you anyway because of their funding. We're located downtown Flint. It's 311 East Court Street, but we sit on, I think that's Harris. It's 4th Street. We sit directly across the street from the YWCA.
Oh, yeah, that little place on the corner.
Well, no, not that one. That's Love. We kind of sit back.
I pretty much know where it is, but I didn't even know that was down there. I didn't know what it was. You know, sometimes you see the first one, and then you don't really think about the other building right there.
Yeah, exactly.
But everybody has the opportunity to come in, and with it being all confidential and all this kind of stuff, they don't have to worry about, yeah, girl, you know, so-and-so came in.
Exactly. And that's we hold confidentiality so high there, because like you have to build the trust in the community, because sexual health is kind of like, I trust you with my sexual health, you know, not to, you know, tell the world that I've had chlamydia 3 times in the past year. Right. You know, and, you know, it's embarrassing. A lot of people don't want to get tested because they'd rather not deal with it. But it's like, you have to deal with it, because if you don't deal with it, it'll deal with you. Exactly. And then it's going to deal with your partner. Right. When they go inside your head. Everybody else. Please don't go inside anybody. You
you gave me what?
Right. Yeah, that would be a very awkward conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as far as, when you say your mission was against discrimination, violence toward, the LGBT people, have you come across a lot of that as far as the violence that, say, with the sexual part of it, and then they have to come in and get tested because they just found out,
Well, we see a lot of risk taking. And it's kind of oppressed populations across the spectrum. So you think about the African American community, which is an oppressed population, and oppressed meaning that, they're not offered the same resources that are offered in other areas.
Right.
You get what I'm saying without saying it?
I understand it.
And so the LGBT population is also an oppressed population. And there's a lot more risk taken within those populations. And especially, I can't say especially, but a lot in the LGBT population because, they have to deal with the stigma of not only maybe being a person of color, but also being an individual that identifies as gay. So not only am I being oppressed for my racial identity, but my sexual identity as well. So they're almost like a double minority. And when you add in like African American, well, African American female that identifies as a lesbian, that's like a triple.
I know.
And so a lot of the times they're not taught the proper precautions. They're not reached effectively, and they're just doing all this risky behavior without kind of knowing that it's risky behavior, or even knowing that it's risky behavior, but taking that chance anyway.
Yeah, the guy that was going around and was doing all the people that was gay that was down at that community center. I mean, that was kind of
heard about
crazy.
That. Yes,
he was on the news and everything. I was like,
and you have individuals like that in the community that might know their status and still, have unprotected sex with you. Or you have some people that don't know their status and they're having unprotected sex and they're infected with something.
Yeah.
And it's that fear, that stigma. We've in general, America is very oversexed and undereducated.
Yeah.
Just like, we will throw sex in your face, but don't you dare talk about it.
Right.
Don't you dare do anything with that.
And then when something happened, you'd be like, I didn't know.
Yeah, and then they victimize you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, it's your fault.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And it's like, but you never told me about that in school. My parents don't talk to me about it.
Yeah.
How was I ever supposed to know any of this information?
Right. Because older back, like when I was growing up, those things you don't talk about, and that was probably one of them. Is like, don't talk about that. But yet, when they was popping up pregnant at 14 and 15, they just be like, welcoming them in,
Yeah.
And now, you figure with the education and the protection, it should be a lot safer.
It should be.
But people don't use protection because they still with that, I don't like the way it feels.
Yeah,
yeah.
You get that. And I always tell people, I tell everybody I come into contact with, if you act like everybody got something, then you're going to protect yourself against everything.
Exactly.
You just don't know.
And what really gets me when people say, well, you don't look like you got that. You want to punch them in the face.
Yeah.
What the hell does that look like?
They have this slideshow where they have individuals, they'll put a picture up and you decide if this person is positive or negative.
Right.
And then the next slide will kind of tell you, nope, negative. And they'll be like, oh, definitely positive. And you go to the next slide like, no, because it doesn't have a face. It's inside you.
They're probably thinking you're going to look like the crackheads with all the picking and all this stuff. And you'd be like, yeah, I know they got something.
Yeah. Or the early 80s when HIV like first hit the scene and how it was hitting, they expect that. They expect the little skinny person
people
with like the lesions on their skin. And that's just not how it works anymore.
Yeah. That was scary because, the movie Philadelphia, that was sad and it was just like, what is that? And now people have it, you don't even know it.
Right, exactly. So, the medication is really working. And so you just don't know. And it's such a big stigma around it. A person that's infected with HIV might, or even like chlamydia or gonorrhea, might be scared to tell you and fear your reaction.
Right.
So I might just mention it in conversation, like we talking. So I'll just mention HIV to kind of feel you out.
Right, right.
And you go on this rant about how nasty and gross and all this stuff, and you just shut me down.
Yep.
And I'm not even gonna tell you anything.
Not gonna tell you anything. And that is sad, because HIV, you know, it's like, to me, I don't care what they say. You don't know enough about that kind of stuff. You think you know, but you don't. And they're saying, well, you know, you can't get certain things from touching the doorknob or touching the person or this and that. But then people are still fearful of it. I mean, what are you supposed to do? I mean, if you say you got AIDS, the first thing ain't gonna be like, oh, be like Denzel, give me some hand sanitizer, you know. And
and that's what they do, and it's totally unnecessary. And you just got to think how you're making the next person feel.
Yeah,
it's so unnecessary, and you're building emotions around it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So here, use this plastic cup that
I
will somehow wash over and over again or something.
No, I'm gonna toss that out.
Yeah, or something. Or
they say, well, when that person come to visit me, they got their own set of cookware. You know, it's like, oh, come on.
And if you're, I always say you got to make things uncomfortable to be comfortable. You know, so ask those awkward questions that you don't want to ask. Ask them. If you meet somebody, ask them, you know, when the last time you got tested? And you can use yourself. You know, I get tested every 6 months. I was just wondering when the last time you got tested. It doesn't have to be like accusatory, like you have something. When was the last time? You don't have to accuse. You just
be like, look, when was you tested?
Yeah.
Don't make me bust you up.
No.
What? Oh.
And it could be just a regular conversation, and you can go get tested together.
Right.
You know, let's go down here. Heard this place called Wellness. We can get our HIV results in 20 minutes. Let's do what we do so we can do this right.
Right.
And, you know, I always tell my daughters, I have 3 beautiful daughters. I always tell it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And you're gonna have sex one day. I cannot stop you from doing that.
Eventually, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen no matter what I do, say. I can fight against it. If I fight against it, it's probably gonna happen sooner, because you know we love to rage against the machine. And so it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
And I'm going to.
Yeah, and you know, when they make that decision, I'm confident that they're gonna take the correct steps to protect themselves. And I think that, you know, parents are not allowing their children the right to make those decisions. We go, you know, don't have sex till you married. And I get that. I get morality. I get that a lot. But it's not realistic.
That's what I was going to say.
Did you wait till you was married, mama? Like, be honest.
Well, and that's the thing you don't want them to say to you. I don't want to, I always try to set good examples for my son, because I don't want him saying, well, you did it. You did it. And, you know, there's some things he might say, you did.
Yeah.
But other ways, it's like, I'm always like, you know, watching what I say, you know, how I do this and that, because I stay on him. And it's like, I don't want you bringing no little rugrats up in here. You know, he too handsome. Them girls be blocking him. I be busting them up left and right. They be my age. He'll be 30. And here they are, my age, almost 60, trying to talk to him. I'm like, no.
They do it too.
Cougars, you know.
Yeah.
I don't like pets.
That was funny. I think it's having those conversations. I think that sex education should start at birth, and it should be age appropriate, and it should go up into adulthood. Like, you know, you should let your child, you know, we always nickname everything. That's your Cuda mama.
Right.
It's like, no, that
Tell
is
the real name.
Right. That's her vagina. This is your penis, and these are the functions of it. This is what and you know, you
don't want it to turn green. Now, if you see green,
please,
there's a problem.
Right. We gotta be more open with our kids so they grow up and don't be shameful.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, they doing it behind closed doors. They're not using protection, because if I use protection, it makes it real.
And then they putting it on Facebook.
All over Facebook.
I saw them doing it. I was in shock. My eyes got big.
The little girl that got caught giving the guy oral sex at the school, they videotaped that and uploaded it to YouTube. Like, how awful was that for that young lady?
She shouldn't have been doing it, and
she
you know, everybody got a camera.
And you think about what kind of home life it is to lead up to that decision.
Yeah.
So what kind of self-worth am I giving my child to have her make these type of decisions, right?
Yeah.
You know, you gotta make sure you build your kids up.
When I see it on Facebook, I just be tripping out, because I'm thinking, where are the parents that this kind of behavior is allowed. And like the little couple that was in the house, 2 boys and a girl, one boy over here videotaping, the girl bouncing up and down on him, talking on her cell phone to her boyfriend. And they like this, yeah, man, yeah, slapping hands. And I'm just going, oh, yeah. I was in shock. I mean, it's like, you see so much on Facebook nowadays that I just be like, oh my God.
That's awful, because we are not teaching our kids right. I'm telling you.
That YouTube and all that technology and stuff, that's why I just like, you get a basic phone. No, you don't get a camera. You know, all you get to do is talk.
What I do with my kids is I teach them every single thing. So my daughter loves Nicki Minaj and Lil Wayne, and we know they can talk. Yeah. And so I let them know up front, like, you know, they do that for money. That's not how they live their life. They got the glamorous life.
Right.
They doing this to get paid. It is a marketing scheme.
Yeah.
And she was like, I ain't never thought about it like that. I'm like, yeah, that's not what they're doing. They're not going out shooting people. That's not what they're doing. Because if they did that, they'd be in jail.
In jail.
But they don't rap about it.
But the worst thing is they make so much money, and the
because
kids,
we're oversexed and undereducated.
Exactly, and the kids see that fast money. They see that as, you know, I can go sell drugs and make. I ain't working at McDonald's. I ain't doing this, that. I want to be like so and so, and then everybody want to be a rapper. Everybody can't rap.
Everybody cannot.
Everybody can't.
Most
rap.
rappers can't rap.
That's what I'm saying.
It's all the hook.
Because what is all that stuff they're saying? What does it mean? When you start talking, beep, 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 you gotta beep out every other word.
Yeah, and then like they said an unreal, I mean, I'm not down in rap. I love rap music. I listen to it all the time. But that new song that I woke up in the new Bugatti, the Bugatti is like $1 million car. And you just woke up in it? I am not going to wake up in a Bugatti. And if I had $1 million, I probably would not buy a Bugatti.
I would not buy a Bugatti. No.
I'll probably have a Chevy Volt.
So you're going to live in this $1 million car because that's all you're going to be able to afford.
And they're not probably living in those $1 million cars. A lot of times they're rented.
Yeah, they rent them for the video. Yeah, and then they go home, they driving a Pinto.
And I'm telling you, I tell my daughter, like, you know, for albums, I think they make like 8 cents on an album. Like celebrities make their money touring, rappers and
other things, clothing, cologne, and all that. Because remember when Toni Braxton came out, they was supposed, like, some of them make like $1 per CD. She was only making 35 cents a CD and went broke real quick. Because you start making the money, you start buying all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, there's no more money.
Yeah.
Now you gotta go file bankruptcy.
Putting that value on that stuff.
Right.
You know, instead of like, you know, I always teach my girls, do what you love to do. The money will come because you're doing what you love to do.
Right.
So, you know, the universe gonna provide. Don't worry about that. Just do what you love.
And then they get all the women and they start popping up babies coming and going. It's like they need some sexual education.
Hard.
They really do.
Man.
Rappers, and they go to the strip clubs, the chicks standing on their head.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, oversexed, undereducated. It's just like the theme of America. It's like, don't you dare talk about it, but it's everywhere.
We can do it, but we just can't talk about it.
Exactly. So I'm going to talk about it.
That's the bad news for the kids these days, especially like you say you get something that aspirin can't cure. That's it. You're going to get a lot of stuff that aspirin can't cure if you're not careful.
And then you got to, like, you know, sex is so different for men and women. You know, for women, it's very emotional.
Right.
And for men, it's very testosterone based.
You know. We make the guy blush.
Actually, I think what you're talking about there, though, actually is based upon a generational thing. I mean, nowadays I've seen girls, you know, through their postings, look as if they're, from all appearances, that they're just as okay with the hookup as any of the guys. So I mean, saying it's emotional, I think it's largely tied to generation.
I think that's true. Yeah. I also think it's emotional only because we have estrogen, and when estrogen gets to kicking, it's a done deal. And so that's where the emotion comes in. And then men, in your semen, it's a chemical that's in the semen that only men produce. And when a man ejaculates inside a woman, the woman comes in contact with this chemical and it makes her more attracted to the male. So we don't have that chemical. We don't have that. But men do, and so that's where the emotional
is that
stuff
some form
comes
of
in.
pheromone or something? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the dogs be sniffing butts and stuff.
Like, oh, there it goes.
Pheromone.
Yeah, and I agree, because I think it started with my generation, the kind of the casual sex hookups and being okay with that as a female, kind of like the sexual revolution where I'm empowered.
Well, I'm from the 60s, you know, but I was only 7 in the 60s. I was born in 53, so by 60 I was only 7 years old.
Okay.
But I think that it's like largely it's like it's some ways some people who are like real critical of the feminist movement basically see it as women fighting to be in the gutter with men. So I mean, and let's face it. I mean, with this struggle for freedom, I think a lot of times they didn't realize there was a downside to freedom. I mean, and they didn't want to take responsibility for it.
That I'm for equality in a lot of cases, but equality is not always what you want. You don't want things to be equal. What you want is justice.
Right.
You know, and so like there's this meme on the internet, and it's these kids looking over a baseball field, and it's 3 boxes available. You got a tall, medium, and small kid, and they line the boxes up equally. And like the tall kid's good, the medium kid nope, and the small kid nope.
Definitely Casey.
Right, and so that's equality. And so justice was they stacked up 2 boxes for the smaller kid, 1 box, and then the tall kid you can see over anyway.
Right,
you don't even need a box. That's justice, and that's what I'm talking about. Is I think that we're looking for justice, but we're calling it equality.
Yeah, it could be because it's like, you know, burning your bra. Like, why did people do that? I don't know.
You see, a lot of the extreme feminists saw that as the bra was created by men. It was like an attempt for males to, you know, confine their breasts and, you know, actually have control over their bodies. But in reality, it was a reaction of what a man saw that women had issues with this and came up with a bra. I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was that deeply psychoanalytic or anything, or sociologically, you know, geared towards, you know, suppressing women. I wasn't there when they created the bra. I mean, it was already in fashion when I was born.
I need to look that up. The history of the bra.
I remember when I was a kid hearing these feminists go about that. It was a symbol of male oppression. I went, okay.
And you know, when you had pictures like Rosie the Riveter, you know, like, why would this woman want to be out there riveting? No, I ain't breaking nails.
Well, what it was is because
I ain't getting greasy.
That was the biggest government thing. Actually, they wanted to free up men so men could go get killed in a war. We shouldn't have
That's what
involved.
it was. And the women had to go to work because all the men were at war.
And the thing is, they never talk about the flip side of that. Did you think a lot of those guys during World War II want to go die, get their legs shot off for a foreign involvement? No.
They don't want to go to war now, but they make it everybody go.
Yeah.
So this whole idea about women in the military. So I guess I mean, that's what you want. You're fighting for a right to go get pulled into action to go get killed for another useless war. That makes a lot of sense. I think it's a pride victory. I think it's a ridiculous thing to be aiming at. Why don't we just say, why are we involved in all these wars? But no, we're ensuring that more people can be involved in these useless wars.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. But that's equality.
That's what I'm talking about. Equality versus justice. That's like a whole blog post.
Yeah.
I think I might write that.
I think you should write that. And it has to do with sexual undereducation and oversex and undereducation. There you go. But yeah, it is one of those things and I think people do need more education. But you know, like, education is out there. It's just a matter of people wanting to take it and, you know, advice and all before it's too late.
Right. I think a lot of the times, you know, parents, we kind of, I think that what parents do is we hide our kids under the table until they turn about 17, and then we're like, okay, you can come out and go out there, but I didn't tell you anything about what's going on out there.
Into the mad world.
Yeah, and we totally don't prepare our kids. I think that we as parents and caregivers should do a better job at preparing our kids in all areas. You know, I'm talking about understanding what a credit report is, to understanding how your vagina works.
Exactly.
My parents never shielded us. We had friends who had all kinds of alternate lifestyles. We had friends who were, like, you know, going through rough times, domestic violence, and my parents never shielded us from us. I mean, we overheard them talking. They didn't try to shield us to the point it was absurd. They didn't want us to be involved in, obviously, but we knew it existed. We knew there's financial difficulties were a real issue to deal with. And when I was a kid, it was like, I knew that being an adult was seriously overrated by these idiots who said, I cannot wait to be 18 so I can get to drink. I went, if you look at all the other stuff that goes with it, that's nothing in comparison to what you have to take with the rest of that. You know?
My twins are 17. They turn 18 next month. And Raja, my oldest twin, that's her theme. Like, I don't want to be an adult. She's like, you pay all my bills, you buy all my food, you buy my clothes, you buy my shoes.
What would I want to get out there?
Right, why would I want to have to do this?
I've effectively kept adulthood at bay for 35 years beyond what I was supposed to. I mean, that's right.
That's what I always say when I grow up.
Yeah, I just said that today. I was like, no, I'm still a child. I don't do adult.
I don't want to grow up. It's too much stuff. I don't have anybody take care of me though, so I guess I have to do it myself.
I'm just a child that's very independent.
That's it. I'm a very independent child. So now at the event, do you think are you going to have any speakers to speak on topics like this, or like what kind of things would people expect when they come to the event?
Well, we're gonna have a speaker and kind of that talks about just like what a Pride event entails and why a Pride event happens, like what's the purpose of this. And then we have a lot of entertainment, cheerleader, Farillo star, Natasha Thomas Jackson.
I know her.
Theories.
Speak Up, Step Up?
Raise It Up.
Raise It Up. Yeah.
Yeah, she does a really good job. My girls are actually a part of her program.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah, and then we got the Pure Pro Wrestlers.
Yeah.
We're having a retro pinup contest. We just added a theater group, and they're going to do like a little Broadway segment, so that should be cool.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, you have the drag performances. We have
I'd like to see it. I've never seen that for real. I've seen it on TV.
Oh, you have to see
I want
it
to
in
see
person.
it for real.
It's the best thing ever. And then we'll have the testing, and we're also going to have something interesting there. We're going to have a coming out photo booth and video booth to where we'll have different questions that we'll ask, and you'll be able to share your story of coming out, because in the LGBT community, it's not just one blast out the closet.
Right.
You come out daily. You know, you come out when you go to a new doctor, you come out when you're walking down the street and you might be holding your partner's hand.
Right.
You come out to new friends, you know, to your employer. So it's a constant come out process, and we just kind of want to kind of capture the coming out process for people, and then what they feel the community can do to assist them, you know, or to destigmatize being LGBT.
Right. Now I saw one time on the news, or I read a story or something about this town that was creating like a city within a city, and all the people in this little city were in the gay community. Now, do you think that's something that should be done or could be done, or what do you think people would think about it? You think they would really feel stigmatized, segregated?
Exactly. And that's my thing. I think that all oppressed populations do that. So we think about Black entertainment television. The BET, you know, it's supposed to be specifically for the Black community. But my thing, you know, I love diversity. And when you create things like this, I'm not ragging on BET. I watch it.
Right.
I don't watch it all the time.
Other one, what is it?
I know what you're talking about too.
Yes, 57.
And they even have one. They have Logo, which is a mainly LGBT community.
Right.
I think that what happens is you kind of segregate yourself. You know, and if you want diversity, then you can't segregate yourself.
Exactly.
You have to be what you want.
Right.
And so that's my concern with places like that. It's just you're segregating yourself. So you're putting yourself off in a corner.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I see happening with that is more people probably getting bullied, because now we know who's really gay or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, before
you over there, huh?
Yeah. You friends with them, so you know the association. You know, bring about similarities, they say. But when I read that, and I can't remember. It's been a while since I saw that, but it just like. I thought, why would you do that? Because it's bad enough when you just have, say, blacks and whites in general. Okay, you have one side of town, you might have all black, and another side of town might be all white. And then once they start mingling together, you know, people start running.
Yeah.
You know, running. It's like, and I'm from the South, everything was segregated. When I moved up north, I was in shock. It was a culture shock.
Good.
I had white friends, and I went to a mixed school, and when I was down there, I went to an all-black school. I didn't see any white people other than the ones telling me sit to the back. You know?
Wow.
So I'm like way from segregated. So now it's like, I just want to be in the mix of everything.
Right. You know, why can't we just be people?
Yeah, that's what I say. It's like seeing color. I don't see color. You know, you just treat me good, I treat you good. You treat me bad, I treat you worse.
I say that. I always say you treat me bad, I leave. Okay,
treat you worse, then I'm gonna leave. But it's just one of them things, you know, it's like, you know, it's already is a stigma, just like you say, a person with HIV, once you find out it's a stigma. But I couldn't see segregating, you know, just because you're gay or lesbian. I mean, and I don't even know what that means. Like, why do some people say, you know, you're gay and some people say lesbian? Now, does lesbian strictly mean women and gay mean men, or is gay for...
That's funny because we were just talking about that.
Because I always hear both, and it's like, I just say if you're gay, you're gay. It's like, that's everybody.
Yeah, I think it's interchangeable. You know what I mean? Because usually lesbian is the female.
Right.
And in LGBT, gay is supposed to be male. And then bisexual, you know, attracted to both. And then T is transgender. I don't even think, because L, G, and the B are sexual orientation, but transgender is gender identity. Right. That has nothing to do with sexual orientation. Yeah. And they get lumped together. Right. You know, I think to be inclusive, but at the same time you're being lumped together, and LGBT rights don't match the T rights. Right. You know, and it's this graphic that I love to highlight, and it's they kind of like animated the L, the G, and the B, and they're climbing up this cliff, and they've got up the cliff, and they like, and the T is like halfway down. Oh no, like, where do I fit in? Like, what about me? And I'm like, that's perfect. And so I'm just one of them people, like, I make my own decisions. I'm like, no, the T is lumped in and it's wrong. And that's just like AIDS to me. I'm like, it's not AIDS, it's HIV. Yeah, and people say, what's the difference? Because when you say you got AIDS, then they automatically think HIV. If you say HIV, they automatically think AIDS. Yeah. But they're actually two different things. Because AIDS is a doctor's diagnosis, and that's just late stage HIV. Okay. You know, so it's... So what comes first? Well, HIV infection goes kind of like in 4 stages, and I'm not going to open my mouth and speak about the 4 stages because I don't know them by heart. Okay. But I know the first one is like asymptomatic. Then you have an acute stage. And as it progresses, stage 4 is usually when they diagnose you with AIDS. Okay. And, you know, I kind of like felt like AIDS wasn't real. Not saying it's not real, because HIV is very real. The virus is very real. But when you can change the criteria or something, okay, this is how you get AIDS. Well, no, we're going to change that, and now this is how you do it. That's what made it unreal for me. Yeah. But HIV is still the virus that causes AIDS, so but it's just like HIV stage 4 is AIDS. So you get the virus first, and then it works its way up into full-blown AIDS. Okay. Yeah. Because, you know, when I hear people talk about it, it's, HIV AIDS, or HIV and AIDS, and it's like, now, do you have both? I mean, I was like, I'm confused. And what's different is you can meet the criteria for AIDS, and then you can, because one of the criteria is, I think, you have an opportunistic infection. And it used to be and now it got changed to or your CD4 levels fall below a certain level. And when they changed it to that or, that's when things change for me. But you can get rid of that opportunistic infection, and your CD4 count can go back up above that level, but you still are diagnosed with AIDS. Oh. So you see where I'm getting that from? So it's always HIV. If you're HIV infected, you are a carrier of the human immunodeficiency virus. And, you know, right now, it's no cure for that. Right. But it's a way to suppress it in your system to where it's not attacking you to the point where you reach that later stage. Like magic. Right. Because you figure when he first came out with it, you would think by now he would be like full of lesions and all that stuff, but no. No. And everybody's like, he don't have it. He very much has it. He's got the good medicine. Yeah, and then, you know, he rich. Exactly. That's so not only medicine, but, you know, go cook me something healthy. I wish I could snap my fingers. Somebody bring me a plate. Exactly. It's like, you know, he's got an advantage over a lot of people. That's what the difference is. Yeah, and, you know, HIV is more or less I would say, a poor disease, because a lot of oppressed populations are poor populations because they're oppressed.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of unprotected sex, a lot of risk taking, which is fueling the epidemic. And you got this one person, you could just drop one HIV person in the crowd and it can spread from there. You know, and so they don't have
no face. You don't know. It could be anybody.
Exactly. You don't have the means to get the medicine and get the proper nutrition that someone like Magic has.
Right.
You know, he can fly.
He went over to Europe and had them cook him up some stuff.
Right. You know, if I live in LA and my doctor's in New York because he's the best doctor to have, then I got the money to do that.
Exactly.
That ain't the norm.
So that's not what normal people do. So we have a little struggle, more of a struggle, and with education and trying to get people to really learn about it, and you know,
and for the people that are infected to come to terms with their infection,
and actually talk about, like, if they find out and then they don't tell anybody, or if they just never find out because they're not having any symptoms until it's way too late.
Yeah, emergency room diagnosis. Yeah. That's what we call that.
Yeah, they go to the hospital for something else and come back with,
I got this really bad cough. They like, no, you have this weird pneumonia.
Right,
and usually only people with this pneumonia have HIV, so we're going to test you. And yep, it came back positive. And now we're going to throw you into this system. And not only am I throwing you into this system, but doctor offices can be scary places. And the frontline staff can be rude, and just, especially if you identify as LGBT. We had frontline staff in some offices call gay men girls. You got two girls up here waiting. It's like, you can't do that. You don't know how, you can make people feel some kind of way. Right. And now I don't want to come back just because of that statement. Right. So
now they're going to go and get no treatment because they know everybody's going to talk like that.
Exactly.
Or at least they think everybody will. But
or you sending me to an infectious disease doctor, and obviously I have an infectious disease if I'm here.
Exactly.
And you got me sitting in this waiting room with like 50 other people, and it's like, thanks, people are like, guess what I saw today? But you ain't put it on yourself because you was there too, right?
Exactly. You're not going to turn around and take a picture of yourself.
Right, exactly. And so, man. We need to do better.
Yes. Well, we'll just make sure everybody come to this event, which is
June 29th at the Pavilion Rink, downtown Flint off of Saginaw, from 11 to 7 p.m.
And you had said something about a $5 donation.
Yeah, we're asking because we put on the Pride event, and all the money that we get from like the vendors and stuff go toward putting on the event. Okay. So we're asking for a $5 donation. It's not mandatory or anything like that, but if you want to contribute to next year's Pride, it's a good way to do that.
And of course, you probably get people come in and actually donate more, because I want a parade. Yeah. I wanted some beads and stuff.
Do something. Yeah, I like that.
But anyways, I am so glad that you took the time to come in today.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm going to make sure I come down and just check it out, and get next year, you're going to have a parade. I'm saying it now.
Oh, speak it in. That's what they say you got to do.
I'm saying next year y'all going to have a big parade, and it's going to be the biggest and the baddest Pride event Flint's ever seen.
Yes.
There you go. And Flint Talk is going to have a float. Right, John?
Yeah. On what budget?
Me and John going to be sitting up on the float like this.
Yeah.
Well, I do have one of those little carts from Harbor Freight. Maybe I could put, and have some kid pull us on a bike.
Yeah. Horse-drawn carriage.
I could afford enough crepe paper to get that covered.
That's a good one.
But anyways, I want to thank you for coming in, and everybody remember it's next Friday the 20. Well, not next Friday. You got 2 weeks.
Yeah, we got 3 weeks.
3 Saturdays. Is that Saturday?
Yep, it's a Saturday.
3 Saturdays. You got to get together to get downtown and check out the event. And we know it's going to be great. So thank you for coming in. And if you ever have any other events or anything you want to promote, just let me know.
I will.
And we will just come in and have a blast with it.
Yeah. I like this format. This is nice.
Yeah. So, and saying that, let me see, next week, who do I have? Next week I have Cesar Salazar from Cesar Floors coming on. He's doing a renovation. He's going to have a grand opening and all that, just to touch base with everybody, let you know he's still around. So make sure you tune in next week at noon for me and Cesar. We're going to burn it up in here. So it's Flaminpit. Until then, and we're out.